Hi, and welcome to The Current, the official podcast of Riverfront Federal Credit Union, where we'll share our insights and experience to help you achieve your financial goals. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the current. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 4. I am here. I got a look.
You're scared of me. I was reading, what?
Next time I'll say 1, 2, 3. Actually, we're going to leave this in. All right. So welcome to episode number 4. I'm here with Tony and Tim McLeod. Tim is our president and CEO. Tony is our creative director, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. And we are also here with a special guest. We are here with Kevin Cavanna. I said that correctly?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Cavanna. Kevin Cavanna. That's right. I was practicing that for
We even
a while.
rehearsed this, and he still got it wrong.
So, Kevin Cavanna.
Yes, sir. That's
There we go. We're here with Kevin Cavanna. Kevin is a wealth management consultant with Good Life Financial Advisors. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. Before we get started, hey, Tim, do you have anything you want to start out with?
Don't ask a question you don't want the answer to, right?
Yes, sir.
No, seriously, I think episode 1, we talked about what's credit union, and we put in a lot of information, or put out a lot of information about things that you should do. What you can do at a credit union, you can do it at any financial institution, but we just do it better because we think we can do it better. We talked about savings and stuff like that, and I did kind of introduce some old thought process about saving as much as you can, as early as you can. So we're going to ask Kevin to elaborate on that a little bit, so that the young ones in our audience can start saving and understand what by saving now, what it does in their retirement. So anyway, more of that to follow, but everybody, welcome to episode 4.
Yes.
And let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So, Kevin, I'm not going to say your last name. So, Kevin, what led you to the profession of a financial advisor and certified retirement counselor? So, what is all that, and how did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back a while. I mean, I come from a loving family, blue-collar, hard-working family, salt of the earth. The one thing that did cause tension in my family was money. And not to get too personal off the bat, but my parents eventually divorced over it. Luckily, became best friends later in life, ironically. But I learned at a very young age, probably 13 or 14, the importance of money.
Yes.
And anybody that says money's not important isn't living in this country. That's for sure. Probably any other one. It may not be the most important thing in the world, but it's definitely the top 3.
Vital.
Yes.
It's vital.
Yeah, it's vital, definitely.
So anyway, I thought to myself, I want to get to a point in my life when I'm older that I can take care of myself, but maybe once I learn these things and how to do it, I can actually help other people enjoy their lives and help guide them down a financial path of security.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely a good thing. So you spoke a little bit about your background. What is your what led you into this as far as your background? Or are you always into money, or an accountant, or how does that work out?
Well, it's a different kind of background. I graduated high school when I was 17, and my father was a over-the-road truck driver for a company called Preston Trucking, Union Company. They're out of business now, but some people, older people, remember them. I worked on the docks for 5 years to save money for college, of course. And I made sure I was there exactly 5 years, because back then a Teamster's pension wasn't 100% vested until you're there 5 years. So I stayed there 5 years. Then I joined the Navy. I trained at the Naval Special Warfare Center in Coronado, California. I graduated from the Navy and Marine Corps Intelligence Training Facility in Dam Neck, Virginia. The Air Force Law Enforcement Academy in Texas. And then I spent most of my time on a NATO base as an intelligence specialist in Greece, both pre and post 9/11. Got out of the Navy, graduated from Penn State, got my MBA from Alvernia, got my licenses and so forth. Worked for Wachovia Securities. I actually interned there. And when my internship was done, it was basically one of those cases where I wanted to become a financial advisor. I knew that for sure at that point, and I just didn't leave. And the advisor I was working for even said, "Hey, we'll gladly pay you minimum wage if you want to stick around." But and I couldn't get it. It was tough. You apply at the big shops, your Merrill Lynch's, your Morgan Stanley's, and they don't want a new guy.
Yeah.
So I just stayed there, and eventually said, "Well, I guess we'll hire you." And I became his assistant, learned the background of everything, and then eventually became an advisor at Wachovia Securities. And the financial crisis during 2008 came. Wells Fargo bought out Wachovia Securities. And as my business grew and I gained a solid clientele, and this is where I should put in my legal disclaimer. In my opinion, the bank I worked for started putting corporate profits above people, and that's not what I signed up for. I'm not a nonprofit guy. Don't get me wrong, but you can take care of people and still earn a nice living at the same time.
That's good. That's very honorable. So, what's your main area of focus then, with that?
Mostly retirement planning. If you look at the demographic of my client, it's generally mom and pop retiree. They worked all their lives. They have money in 401ks. They need help consolidating those assets, and they need guidance through retirement.
Do you find people not really taking your advice or going like, yeah, we're listening to you, but I think we should do it this way? Or how's that work out with people?
Usually,
I mean, they're coming to you for advice, so you would think they would listen, but
if I sense that from the beginning, then I know that we're probably not going to have a relationship together.
Okay.
I tell them what I do. I tell them what they can expect, what they cannot expect, and so forth and so on. And if I get that type of pushback of unrealistic expectations, I guess I should say, then I tell them, hey, I just don't, I'm giving you my best advice here. You're welcome to take it and move on, but I don't think it'll work out, because when people a lot of times know just enough to get them in trouble. You know that saying.
Oh, yeah.
And then that can be
I raise my hand.
that can be a problem.
Yeah. Actually, with all the apps out today, I'm using an app named after a hero, I guess, that allows you to invest, and I think I'm losing. Well, I know I'm losing more than gaining.
But you know who's winning, Tony? I mean, Joel. You know who's winning?
Who's that?
Whoever owns that app.
Oh yeah, that's no joke. Yeah. That's no joke. So, when should people start actually planning for retirement? I know, a lot of people fall into that trap where they're already, they're 10, 15 years out from retirement. They're like, oh, maybe I should put a plan together. Yeah. But are there people out there that, hey, they're in their, at what age? When should we be thinking? Like, should my daughter at 17 be thinking about retirement?
Yeah, so there's a couple answers to that question. The quick answer is today. As soon as you get done listening to this podcast. But yeah.
Yeah, give Kevin a call.
As early as 18, when you get your first job, you should start initially planning. I mean, and it's interesting. It's difficult for people that age to foresee being retirement age.
Yeah, because they're not even getting into college yet or anything like that. Yeah, so it's like their focus is all over the place.
It's all over the place. But and they don't have to start at 18, but as early as possible. I always tell people, as soon as you get a job, start saving in a Roth IRA. Roth IRA is a thing of beauty. Every single dollar that you put in there grows tax-free. So if you qualify, and you probably will qualify when you get out of college, because I think if you're single, as long as your income's under $158,000, which usually when you get out of college it is, you can open up a Roth and put in up to $6,500 a year. And not everybody can do that, but every little bit helps. And the next part of the answer to that question is, as far as when people should start thinking about retirement, is when they're older and they have accumulated assets. I always say, at the minimum 2 years out, start to think about this thing and what am I going to do? What does it look like? Talk to somebody that does this. But you could do it 5 years out. Everybody's different, but at least 2, because you want to start to think about what I want to do. What do you want to do in retirement? Do I have the assets to do it? Can I retire comfortably? Is this whole thing going to work out with what I have?
Yeah, 2 years out. That almost seems like it's too late. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when five's better.
Five, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the final product.
I mean, if you haven't done anything yet, 2 years.
Oh, if you haven't done anything, no.
There's nothing to prepare for.
Yeah. I'm talking about the actual retirement. No, like I said, as soon as you get your first job, you should start saving and open up one of these Roths for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So you said Roth IRA, right? Can you explain the difference between like a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, or is there really a big difference between them?
Yeah, huge. Some of the rules are the same. With a Roth IRA, like I said, every dollar that you put in there grows tax-free. So, you put $10,000 into a Roth, and over a long period of time, it grows to $100,000. You pull $100,000 out tax-free, and you only had paid taxes on that original 10 that you put in. Now the traditional IRA, but you don't get a tax deduction. That's the caveat with the Roth. With the traditional IRA, you put money in, you'll get a tax deduction for that year on your tax return, but that money then it becomes pre-tax money. And even though, let's just say the investments were the same, that same $10,000 grew to $100,000. Now you're paying taxes on $100,000. So if you qualify for the Roth is, in my opinion, your best bet. Other people argue and they'll say, well, you get the tax deduction here in this year and so forth, and because of that extra pre-tax money can grow and so forth. But unless you're in a very high tax bracket, I always tell people if you qualify for that Roth, you're foolish not to.
So is it your tax bracket that puts you into that Roth category, or?
Well, as long as I think they're changing them every year, but as long as you're single and make under $158,000 or married under $228,000, so they're pretty high numbers. You qualify for that Roth.
Oh, okay.
And you've got to watch too with a traditional IRA. If you have a 401k or you're covered by a plan at work, then you might not be able to deduct those contributions if you're over a certain amount of income. So I love the Roth. The Roth's thing of beauty. Tax avoidance, I love.
Amen. Yeah, if you can do the Roth, do the Roth. That's what it sounds like. So how do you decide how to invest a client's portfolio? Like what's all involved in that?
A lot of variables there. When someone initially comes in, we have a long conversation. I look over their assets, all of their IRA statements, their 401k statements, bank statements, everything, the tax returns, and we have a conversation about their goals, and look at their age, of course, and then we talk about risk tolerance. There are some people that are completely risk adverse, and it makes it more challenging. Markets go up, markets go down. I tell everybody right away, there will be times when this portfolio is down, and I literally hit the desk a couple times to try to drive that point home, because they seem to forget that when it actually does go down. But I say my focus is on the long run, and I take all those things, the assets, their age, the risk tolerance, and then I can build out a portfolio that has the right mix of stocks versus bonds versus commodities, and tailor it individually to them.
Interesting.
And then you set that up on like a payout for them to live on, or?
Absolutely. We talk about how much are they going to need to withdraw from these retirement assets. We calculate that amount, and then we can set that up for them. And that's another place where some people have to be brought back to reality. If you only have $200,000 in your 401k, you're not buying a beach house. I have to remind them of that.
Time to recalculate.
Yeah, exactly.
My beach house just turned into a hut by a pond.
So, just to get off of IRAs and Roths and all that stuff, CDs, are they a good investment? or is that like one of those age-dependent things and how you want to use them?
It's situationally dependent.
Okay.
To me, a CD, it's a certificate of deposit. I've already had people come to me and they say, Kevin, I've got $100,000 here, but I need $100,000 at least in 2 years, but I want to get a better rate than a CD until then, but I want this for a down payment on a house, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, well, in your particular situation, you go with the CD. Because what I do will fluctuate in the short run, and 2 years is the short run. So we don't want to run into a situation where you need your down payment for your house and the markets are down for whatever reason at that point in time, and you need that money.
So we're looking at a safety issue there.
Yeah.
If you want to know the amount you're going to have at a specific time, go for that CD.
Exactly. Now the flip side of that is, will whatever rate you're getting in that CD outpace inflation over time? And the answer is no, it probably won't. So, in real dollars over a long period of time, it doesn't make sense. And then again, you have to look at someone's risk tolerance. I once had a woman come in. She was retired, living off her Social Security, her deceased husband's pension, and she had $500,000 sitting in CDs. And she didn't need the money at all. It was basically going to be left to heirs and so forth. And there are things I could have done for her that would have made a heck of a lot more sense. But when we talked about her risk tolerance, she said to me, I asked her, but now listen, before we do anything here, you will get a statement over time that's down. I mean, it could be your first statement. And what would you do? Oh, I'd pull my money out. Well, I can't help you. You have to have some type of risk tolerance. So
exactly,
even for a larger amount of money, that was the right thing for her. So once again, it's not a one size fits all. It's dependent on a lot of variables.
Interesting. Yeah, that's true, because nobody wants to see their money go from $500,000 to $450,000 over a period of time. But yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. So, as you approach that retirement age, what do you recommend people actually do? Like, I guess if I've dealt with you for a while and I've got everything set up and I'm getting close to that age where, hey, okay, I'm about to retire. What's the process there?
You come into my office again. We have a conversation. We've probably already had a conversation if we've gone over things. Basically, I open up, depending on what we've agreed on and what we think is best, we open up certain accounts and we take care of all the transfers and management of the assets then and make sure you get money when you need it.
That's a good answer.
If that's what you were looking at.
I like that answer.
Yeah. It sounds pretty simple, actually.
Just call Kevin.
Call Kevin and he's going to hook it up.
Right. Call Kevin and get money when I need it.
It's not an unlimited supply.
Oh.
And it's not my money you're getting.
Right.
So the process isn't that difficult, is what you're saying.
No, and it's interesting because every time I have new clients in the office, to them, and I understand, it's daunting. I've got these 401k statements from 3 different places and IRAs all over the place, and how am I going to get money? But the mechanics of it is easy for us. We've been doing this 20 years, so it's an easy process for us to.
Are there any surprises that anybody goes into, like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know I have to do that, or what are you talking about?
Oh, all the time.
What are the major surprises that people get?
I've heard some. The funniest things are when people think that they've thought of something that the IRS hasn't. So they're like, "Can I just take this $100,000 I have in my savings and just stick it into my IRA, so it can grow in my Roth IRA, so it can grow tax free?" I mean, no, the IRS is well aware of that stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of surprises with people, what they think they can and can't do. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I have people, when people come into my office, I give them an honest opinion of what I think they can and can't do. I have people come in and they've saved a lot of money during their life, and they have low expectations of what they can do. I say, hey, you can actually do more. And then there are people that think they have a lot and think they can do things, and I tell them the truth. No, because I don't want you to run out of money in retirement. That's what we don't want. We need this money to last you the rest of your life. Period.
Yeah, that is wild because if you live in your 80s or 90s, I mean, how does that work out? I mean, when that money is gone, it's gone.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up. People are living longer, right?
Yes.
So I have to plan for that with portfolios now. It used to be, it was easier years and years and years ago when people didn't, easier when they died earlier. But anyway, the money didn't have to last as long. But,
no.
But now it does, so I have to take that into consideration. So every once in a while I'll have somebody come in, they're retiring at 62, and they say, well, I don't plan to live past 70, so, let's just do this, that, the other thing. And I say, well, hold on a second. We can't do that because what if you
90.
do? Yeah, it's possible. So we have to plan accordingly for that.
Yeah, because my daughter actually worked at a retirement home for a bit, and it was like they didn't take, if you had the money, they didn't take it, but if it was like in your 401k or something, they took it directly from there. I was like, it was really weird. So I'm not sure how that, you wouldn't deal with anything like that, right?
Well, not specific. I know what you're talking about. So yeah, they take your money. I mean, nursing homes and assisted living, I've seen them cook through fortunes of money, and then basically when you run out of money, I think you can go. The specifics of it, I'm not sure, but you go through Medicaid and Medicaid supplements the rest of their life that they're there. But I will say this: that risk can be mitigated with long-term care insurance, and that is something I do. And if you have assets, long-term care can make a lot of sense. I said that 70% of us will need long-term care at some point in our life.
Oh, wow. So is that like long-term care, is that just your regular nursing home, or is that like medical and the nursing, or what does that work out with?
It's a combination of things. I think it's defined as when it can be home care, it can be in an assisted living facility, when you can't do what they call 2 activities of the daily living, 2 of the 5, I believe. Feeding yourself, dressing yourself, bathing issue. I don't know exactly what the 5 are, but once a doctor says that, hey, they're in this situation, then that's when the long-term care insurance kicks in and protects your other assets.
Wow.
So if you want to pass assets to heirs, that's definitely something to consider. And most people don't think about it because you don't want to think about not being able to take care of yourself. It's the last thing you want to think about.
I need one more insurance policy.
That's what it sounds like. I think I need to get this insurance policy. Is this something that you would get like now, or I mean, how does that work out? Or is that something once you hit retirement, hey, maybe I should get this retirement insurance?
Yeah, the sooner the better.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, the younger you are, the better. I just did one last week for somebody. He's 62. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing where it's not too late to do that. I used to never do long-term care policies because they were always expensive, very high premiums, and if you didn't use it or need it, you were out of luck. Mm-hmm. Now they have hybrid products, which are nice because you at least get the premiums back via a death benefit. So you kind of can't lose. You have to die to get your money back, but at least it's not lost money if you don't need the long-term care insurance.
So if I have like a grandparent or that's getting ready to retire, or they are retired, is this something I should look into them for them? Like, hey, we might want to get this long-term care insurance.
Possibly. It depends on a lot of variables. Once again, I've got to look at their assets and what they have, and is it in their best interest to get it. It's not for everybody. It doesn't work in every case, but for someone looking to protect assets in the long run, it can work because like we just talked about, those long-term care facilities, they rip through money.
Oh yeah, that's no joke. I think the one locally, it was like $3 or $4 grand a month or something like that, and they weren't playing. It was that money was being taken, and once you were out, you were out.
I've seen big amounts of money destroyed by that type of thing, by those nursing homes.
And that's something people don't often think about when they're thinking about retirement.
No.
No.
What could happen? I'm in good health. I don't need that. I'm good. But then you don't know, 10, 15 years down the road, all of a sudden your hard-earned retirement money is going out pretty quick, paying for something like that.
Yeah, leaving quickly.
Yeah. That's wild.
It is.
So, to reel it back from that, so what is the basic investment advice you would give to our listeners? Like, what is the basic thing that, hey, I need to start doing something right now to, and I guess that's all age dependent, but say you're in your 30s or your 40s and you need some basic advice of what you need to do, other than give Kevin a call.
I think some basic things, and I'll go back to it and say it again, is open up that Roth IRA, get as much as you can into that Roth IRA. Like I said, if you're under 50, you can put $6,500 a year. Over 50, it's $7,500. But figure out what you can fit into your budget and do it monthly. And get it deducted, just get an automatic, it becomes another bill. That will grow over time. I mean, if the investments are correct and you obviously do have the time horizon, that's one of the best things that you can do. And also, and this is something I see people don't do, if you have a 401k at work, take advantage of the match. It's free money. I hear it all the time from younger people. Well, I can't afford it. No, you can't afford not to do that. Yeah. And that's true. I think
that's been my biggest mistake, not taking advantage of the match.
You don't take advantage of the match?
Not completely, but yeah.
Really?
I know. I've been bad at that, but I think that's definitely to be changing.
Well, when we're done here, you need to go talk to HR and get that bumped up.
Definitely, because we got a good match. Actually,
you're doing what we call leaving money on the table.
Yeah. I think I left a lot of money on the table, to be honest with you. But definitely, making that match. But I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead, continue.
No, and then, I mean, Tim and I were talking earlier. You can also, what do you say? Save a dime for every dollar?
A dime per every dollar.
A dime for every dollar.
10%.
It can be done.
Do the math. I mean, if you started working when you was, let's say 18, conservatively, I think probably everybody in this room probably started a lot earlier than that, but I probably blew it earlier than that too. But but if you think about it, if I saved 10% of everything I earned since 18, how much money would I go into retirement with, Kevin? Let's just say $1 million plus.
Oh.
That's very conservative.
Yeah, I have a young. She's the daughter of a client of mine, and she's 21. But she puts $540 a month into her Roth IRA, and she said to me, "I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be my main. This comes before everything, before a house, before cars, before." She is gonna be one tax-free rich lady.
That is amazing.
We're talking about, I'm not talking about $1 million, I'm talking about several million.
Wow.
Over the course of the next 40 years. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing, and that is great.
One other thing before we leave this area of the subject matter. So recommending different vehicles to save money. So I recall early on, insurance guy said, "Oh, you got to buy this whole life policy because what it does, it's also an investment. If you live, to whatever age, you're going to get this money back, I guess, in the form of annuity. But if something unfortunately happens, there's a death benefit that's going to pay for everything, and your beneficiary is going to recoup the money. So from that aspect, Kevin, looking at different investment vehicles, while life insurance is important, which we all know, or most people know, that you can get a whole lot more term life insurance, and then take the difference and invest that into a retirement vehicle.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that for young ones that would be looking for investment?
So you took the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Buy term and invest the difference. I mean, I've never been a big fan of whole life policies, although they have their place because of the extra costs involved with them. So term policies are a lot more affordable. So if you could figure out what the whole life would cost versus the term will be cheaper.
Yes.
Take that difference and invest it in a Roth IRA. And as far as the life insurance goes, another thing I do for people is some people think they need a $1 million life insurance policy. You may or you may not. When you're younger, you have to calculate, hey, if something happens to me and I'm the breadwinner in the family, how do I pay my house off? How do I make sure my spouse is taken care of? And how do if your goal is to get your kids through college, et cetera, what might that cost? And once you come up with that number, that can better determine how much you need. Now, that number may be $1 million, it may be more than that, but it may be less as well. So as people get older, there's obviously a lesser need for the life insurance. But certainly, like you mentioned, Tim, buy term, invest the difference is...
That's what I always felt was it, and I've done it to some degree. I always felt that was the best angle of approach.
Yeah.
Maximizing the dollar.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt about it.
So, Kevin, what has been your biggest reward professionally?
Now, I think now, after about 20 years in this business, seeing everything come full circle, seeing my clients that I got 18, 19 years ago, live in a nice retirement, achieving their goals, and we've been through some really bad times together, 2008, 2011, you name it, they're out there, and keeping them on course and actually seeing them live the lives that they want to live, and to know that I had some small part in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It feels good.
Yeah, I could imagine that feels great. So we're gonna wrap this up now. Tony, is there any parting thoughts you like to share with the audience?
I'm just Kevin. I appreciate the information. I mean, a lot of that stuff is not really thought about, as you said, when you're just getting out. You're not thinking about, why do I need to worry about this? It's so far off, but that's the reason why you need to worry about it. And I think the longer you go, that's when it's really being more impactful to your budget. If you don't start till in your 40s or in your 50s, that monthly, however you were planning on breaking down the savings of that, needs to be much greater because you have so much less time for those investments to do their thing.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I mean, the earlier, the better. But you just said it again, too. It's tough for young people to think that way. They don't think that they're going to be retirement age until they're 3/4 of the way there sometimes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, we're just thinking about the weekend right now.
Yeah.
What's this week? What's this week, old head? Come on, man.
Weekend. I'm thinking about Friday night.
Yeah, there you go.
What am I doing Friday night? I ain't even thinking about Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, but to touch on that, too, I always thought it was a shame that there wasn't more education in high school about things like that. I can't...
Come on, don't get us
There's a lot that was missed in high school.
Don't get me started on that.
I mean, trigonometry and calculus, but not basic investment theory. I don't get it. But
They could have taught us about credit, investment.
Credit,
there was a lot of things that got mixed up in high school.
Yeah.
Teach me the things I need to know.
Kevin, any final words you want to?
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you being here.
I mean, to everybody out there, I think most of the things that we talked about today, they're applicable to someone somewhere, or someone that you know, and if you can use that information to help yourself or one of your loved ones or friends, please do that.
So, Kevin, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that? I know you're here at Riverfront's Kaiser branch, but I'm not sure when you're here. What days would you be here?
Usually on Thursdays.
So on Thursdays you're here. Is there a phone number they can call or somewhere they can reach you?
The best way to get a hold of me is to call my main office and talk to my assistant to schedule an initial appointment.
Okay. And that number is that the 610-880-8086 number?
That's it.
Awesome. So if you didn't get that number, it's 610-880-8086. And that's how you can reach Kevin via his main office line.
It's also on our website.
Yes, and
That's
if you,
right,
if you visit our website, riverfrontfcu.org, there is a drop down that you can get to. It's a personal account section, and you go to the services, and it's it's wealth management, and that's where you'll be able to find more information about Kevin. Tim, is there any final words you would like to say?
Yes. Yes, I do. So, just sitting here listening to Kevin talk about retirement and retirement planning and things of that nature, if I knew then what I know now, what would be the possibilities?
Yeah.
And I'll go back to something we've talked about many times, I guess, so far up to episode 4. But we've talked about it, obviously, with, every chance I get, I talk about it. Tony just mentioned it, budget. So, and going back to, what we should be learning in school is how to, reconcile a checking account, how to do a household budget, where, how and what, when, where do I put these numbers at so that I can show what I've got and what I'm doing, what's my numbers, what's my money doing.
Yes.
And so that's how you get to how much can I afford to put in that Roth IRA, because I budgeted for this amount, and this is my savings. So I've got this amount. This is what I owe for my car potentially. This is my lease, my rent. This is the groceries. This is how much I want to spend on Friday night. Things of that nature. So when I'm going through that whole process and I've got my check stub sitting there right in front of me, I know how much money I've got left. And of course now in today's age, we've got budget apps and things of that nature. I can just plug it in real quick on my phone. I know exactly how much I've got left. I can even make it auto feed into my savings, and my savings is how much I'm gonna cut that check to go to my IRA. So it starts to generate some level of an automatic process to where I don't have to worry about it. I know how much I've got going in it. I know how much I can put in it. So I know when I get a raise or I get a new job or whatever, I'm making a little more money. I don't have to go in there and go, well, not plus not equals. I don't have to do that. All I do is update my gross income in the app or on my budget if you're doing it manually, and you just take the difference. Nothing else should change unless you're moving to a bigger apartment, maybe that. Because life is going to happen. Things are going to move. It's going to cost you more money. But at some point you go, okay, I'm not going to ignore this. I'm going to leave it right here. It's right where I want it to be right now until I get to a point to where I can add to it, because maybe I am looking at buying a house, or our first child is on the way, or whatever the life experience that you're at, that's going to cost you more money. So you may get to a certain point, say, look, I'm doing 8, 10, 12% in my savings, my dedicated savings amount on my budget, and everything else is working good. Leave it for right now until you can add more to it later. But if you're doing 10% now at 18, 19, 20 years old, you're in pretty good company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you stay consistent with that, you potentially can retire early and have a longer retirement.
Yes.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. Yeah, that retirement age changes often, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right now, what is the retirement age?
Pick a number.
Yeah, it's based. Yeah, I mean, as far you're talking about as far as
70?
Social Security.
Oh, yeah,
that's true.
It's based. It's based on. Yeah, it's different based on when you were born and so forth.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so
That's
on.
true.
Yeah. I think right now it's still. I think from a general standpoint, it's partial at 63, full at 65,
Yeah, 62 is the early.
or 62 early.
62 and 65 or 66.
Yeah.
And here's another question I get all the time. Now, sorry to keep going here longer,
Yeah,
but
that's all right.
70 is the max where your Social Security is built to the max at age 70, so you don't want to wait past age 70
Right.
to take it. Some people take it early for whatever reasons, and some people wait till later, but you don't wait past 70, period, because it doesn't benefit you any more to wait. And then people always ask me, when should I take Social Security? And I say, well, tell me the day you're going to die, and we can do this calculation, and I can tell you exactly how to max this thing out. So it's not an easy question, but
No, awesome. All right, hey, that was a lot. Thank you, Kevin, for coming out. We appreciate your time. And everybody out there, if you want to make your life easier, keep following the current.